Looking at a partner's phone is wrong, unless you find something. This was one of the many lines that were said over one too many of glasses of wine between a friend and I. We were discussing the ethics of looking at your partner's phone. Fuck it, I think it's wrong, I say. And she goes on to tell me something that made me question my stance, but not for long. She tells me that a few days prior, she was using her boyfriend's computer with his permission, and his iMessage box pops up. She sees her name in conversation in one of the boxes, so naturally she clicks on it. And her world crumbles. He was talking to his ex about breaking up with her. She was devastated. Liv, I thought I had him wrapped around my finger, she says to me. I don't know how else I would have known. And how else would she have known? Smartphones and technologies alike have undeniably altered the modern landscape of modern relationships, spreading both opportunities to connect and challenges to trust, like my friend here. Cheating happens more than we'd like to think about, and it used to be quite difficult to catch a cheater, but now it's as simple as knowing someone's passcode. And the power that smartphones give to a cheater, it's intimidating. So people do snoop because they're afraid of being cheated on. And it's easy to snoop. You have the power at your fingertips, an easy alternative to what we once used to have to rely on, trust. We are our own private investigators, and though we may not like to admit it, many of us, we check Snapchat scores, location settings, live feeds, and platform activity of others. We've been introduced to this new world, one where we self-train to become what the internet is called FBI agents, private investigators, or detectives. People, predominantly women around my age, who know exactly how to process, access, and retain relevant information via the internet when trust is compromised or suspicion is raised in an interpersonal relationship. I do this with my friends all the time. I was on Hinge a few weeks ago, and I spotted a guy on there who I was 99% sure was my friend's boyfriend. So clearly he's not supposed to be on there. I immediately accessed the main database, my friends group chat. I go on there and I ask, are Abby and Tyler still together? I just caught Tyler on Hinge. Profile activity, one asks, and I explain that I looked it up, and if I could find his profile, it means that he's been on the app within the week. Maybe they're freshly broken up. I asked someone to contact Abby. Another one looks at her Instagram. I ask, does anyone have her location? Check if she's at his house. We stripped that profile down to the fucking bone. Bottom picture. From here, we can see that this photo is relatively new and from his own camera roll, because it's similar, but not the same one as the one that was posted on his Instagram 2 weeks ago. So he made this profile. We know he's been using it. Busted. We did all the work and we wiped our hands clean. We've all done that kind of work. And we told her her man was cheating. So why did catching him give my friends and I this rush of adrenaline, this real sense of victory? I hated that there was something instantly gratifying about it, something that felt addicting. And I think part of that gratifying feel of catching someone helps us justify the snooping. Because of this ever-changing landscape, we're addicted to this need to know. There's this growing culture of investigative people, my friends and I included. And sometimes this impulsive nature is just bred from bad relationships. But here's my advice. From listening to all of my friends' stories, if you're gonna do it, do not go through your partner's phone unless you're ready to do something about it or leave, because there's about to be some raw shit on there. So be prepared. Another one of my friends says, we can call her Stacy. She caught her significant other talking to his ex on his Apple Watch. And she didn't want to incriminate herself, so she never ended up saying anything. And I asked her to reflect on the situation with me because they just broke up later due to indifference. And she described it as if you're locking yourself in this jail cell, bound with knowledge. She said it's like throwing away the key on yourself. So like in her case, if you go through your partner's phone and you don't know what to do with the information you found, you may feel stuck. She knew that her boyfriend would use it against her to make her look bad or feel guilty. So again, she never said anything. But what ended their relationship, though, wasn't the peeping or the knowing. It was the problems that came beforehand that caused her to look at his Apple Watch, his phone, his computer. Through all of this toxicity and tragedy, we need to communicate before we snoop and be ready to do something about it or just leave. And last, I had to speak with my friend who has no shame in the game when it comes to this social stalking and looking at her partner's phone. Sammy has a plethora of horror stories when it comes to guys cheating, and she obviously has her validations and her trust issues. She's well known for making Instagram accounts pretending to be whoever she needs to be. Hairdressers, bakeries, to follow anyone she's suspicious of or needs intel on. And while sometimes that is quite impressive, the information that she can acquire anonymously, in all seriousness, her behavior comes from a place of insecurity, hurt, and fear. It's sad. I try to plead with her. Why do you need the truth about if they're cheating or not if the relationship is causing you to think that they are? In other words, if you want to look at your partner's phone so bad, isn't the relationship already dead? Why do you need proof? What does the proof do? Who does it serve? I think back to my friends who did nothing. Is it to satisfy that sick need to know? Again, isn't the relationship dead enough if all you think about is the trust that you don't have and the answers that you think you need? I'll take it even further with you. If you get the answer that you want when you look and find nothing, where does that leave you? Who does that make you? It doesn't leave your relationship in a better place. It will not make you more secure. And at that point, all you did was invade your partner's privacy and satisfy and justify your needs in just about the most unhealthy way that you could do for yourself. Despite this, I think back to my one friend who found that stuff by accident on her boyfriend's computer. What do we say to her? And while there are these instances that we can make up where checking your partner's phone is justified, it's crucial that we start addressing these underlying issues first. Because all these stories that I told you about that involve snooping on a partner's phone, none of them had a happy ending. All we can do is control ourselves. I want to start a new trend. I want us to know our value and start being disgusted with the idea of not feeling secure in a relationship. I want to set this new standard for us. A healthy relationship is not about cracking codes, but it's about creating connections. It's time we log out of suspicion and log into trust. Thank you.